And good morning, good Saturday morning. Maybe if you're still in the bed.
Yeah, if you had to get out on the road and drive 15, 20 miles, no.
It is thunderstorm Saturday here.
Yeah, a lot of water on the roadways.
A lot of water.
Be careful out there if you're driving.
Yep.
Gonna drive.
But it's supposed to be, I think even by the time we get off the air at 10 o'clock.
Clear now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometime around that time out of here. And maybe a really nice, pretty day on top of that.
It's going to have to go some to emulate yesterday's.
Right.
What, 82, 3 degrees, nice breeze, low humidity?
Yeah, something about 83 in March always scares me. Of course, we had the 80s in, February maybe a little bit, or at least high 70s.
Yep.
But, still not much of a winter, although we did have a few cold nights this past week. Something just caught my eye last night, or caught my ear, actually, as I was watching the NCAA tournament. Now, you guys are going to know the answer to this because I've already told you. But just think about this. What do these four teams have in common? Kansas State, San Diego State, Creighton, and Florida Atlantic University.
None of them are number one seeds in the tournament.
Well, you could say that about 64 of the 68.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little more.
Run
by
those teams again.
Brett knows, don't you, Brett? You know where I'm going with this. Kansas State, now tell me, I may even be wrong. Kansas State, San Diego State, Creighton, and Florida Atlantic all have this in common.
None of them are from the wonderful Big Ten or the powerful SEC.
Another fact, not what I'm looking for.
Those two conferences took up, 16 of the 64 seeds?
Say them, Mike. Say those teams. Say those teams I just meant. Say them in your mind. I want to try to get this. I want you to get this.
Okay.
I hadn't heard you say one of them.
Kansas State.
One.
San Diego State. Creighton. And Florida Atlantic.
You know what it is? Brett knows what it is.
Well, they're all on one side of the bracket.
One of them is going to the national championship game. One of them will play in the national championship game.
Right. That's right.
We've never seen that before.
No.
First Elite Eight ever without a number one seed.
Without a true blue blood, as they say. Yeah.
Now, I don't know about that. But I will say this. Michael Budzinski was talking to me the other day. He's a big Duke hater, so he loves talking to me. He always pops up after Duke loses a game. But I'll give him credit here. It was, I think, 2 days before he came. And he said, I heard this stat the other day. He said, I'm not going to remember the years, but he said sometime around 1980 from 1980 till 2000, I want to say 20 or 21. That's a long time. Either Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, or Kansas was in the Final Four.
Right.
And now 2 of the last 3 years that hasn't happened. Is that right? Brett might have to double check that. So that would be through 2020 that 80 to 20, and then
there was also a thing
41
where
seasons.
A North Carolina team, a long span, advanced to the Sweet 16. It was always either Duke, Carolina, NC State. Had always been in the Sweet 16, as I recall. Yeah, a lot of things have been shattered here with this tournament that we haven't had before, or at least in a long time.
But just let that register in. San Diego State.
I know.
This is the deepest they've been, right? Or it matches it, one or the other.
It's their deepest run.
It's the deepest. It's their first Elite Eight.
K-State.
They've been to 4 Final Fours.
When's the most recent?
1968.
Woo!
Ooh.
1968. They were good under Frank
They were pretty good under Frank Martin. They were.
And then he left. Why did he leave and go to South Carolina and end his
who knows?
career?
It had to be more money.
Was he
I
from
don't know why else.
that area?
I don't know.
I think there were local ties.
That
Or
must-
maybe it was just more money.
had to be, because
I don't know.
why would you leave a Big 12 school, which we know the Big 12 is good in
I
basketball?
don't picture
to go to
him as
South
being from
Carolina.
South
Well, I
Carolina.
mean,
but
I don't look at it. The conference absolutely means nothing to me in this decision. But going from Kansas State's program, who he had built something out of, to South Carolina's, which he had the opportunity to build.
and he's from Miami, so no, it wasn't a local connection.
Well,
Well, now he did build them. They made the Final Four. When was that, Brett?
South Carolina.
They made the Final Four.
Yeah, they beat Duke.
They beat Duke in the Sweet 16.
About 5 years ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's at UMass now.
Now things have tailed off since.
But how about the history on the others here? The Creighton, always a good basketball team.
Always, yeah.
Have they made the Elite Eight before? I think they. It seems like
1941.
Oh, really? Yeah, I thought I remembered it. Only Mike remembered the fact that Creighton have made.
And I don't know how many teams there were. You know how many games they had to win to get there, but and it
Only-
wasn't really
So
called
two
the
of them
Elite
we've
Eight.
gone
but-
back on before there were really basketball powerhouses other than named UCLA. You know,
Yeah.
and I don't even know what they were in 1941. I'm guessing they weren't a big basketball powerhouse either. But so K-State's been to 4. Is that what you said?
4 Final Fours.
4 Final Fours. San Diego State, deepest penetration here. Princeton. Princeton's out. Never
They
mind.
have
We won't
one.
discuss Princeton.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, they have one Elite Eight.
Okay.
1965.
Creighton most recent was
Bradley.
41. Is that Elite Eight or Final Four?
Elite Eight.
Elite Eight.
I don't think they made it any further.
And I'm going to guess it's as far as Florida Atlantic's ever been.
You have
Yes.
yes right on that one.
They had never won a tournament game. They had been to the tournament one time and lost in the first round.
Really? Tell me they lost to a number 1 seed.
Well, you have to give me a minute on that.
Okay.
Okay, before this run, what do we most know Florida Atlantic for?
Local guy going down there to play football. And Lane Kiffin.
And Lane Kiffin. That's what I was going to say. in
Yeah.
football.
Most people would say Lane Kiffin right off the bat. You know, and rightly so.
Yeah.
But you know, we had a local kid here to go play down there.
Right.
Spend 4 years on the beach. What is it they
Pretty
said?
good campus. down
As they
there.
talk about, they say
Boca Raton.
they tell you though that you know they give you the thought that it's a school that's on the campus is on the beach, and then you learn that it's not. It's like
Yeah.
very few of them are on the beach. Maybe Pepperdine. Brett, is Pepperdine on the beach? I know you've been there.
It's right across the road.
Oh,
I
you
heard
got across the road, so I don't consider.
Well, how
that
about
on the
Long
beach.
No, it doesn't sit on the beach, but
How
it's,
about Long Beach State? I heard they are on the beach. That campus
I don't know.
meets the beach.
I don't know.
What about Texas A&M Corpus Christi?
Not
It's on an island.
No, it's not. I don't think it is. I think Dan Patrick and them discussed this and said they go by the Islanders. Isn't that their nickname?
No, I've seen a picture of it.
Oh, is it?
Like an aerial shot of the campus.
Okay.
Yeah, it's surrounded
Okay.
by water.
Well, that'd be your best bet then. If you wanted to make sure, that would be your best bet. I just find it so fascinating, though. This is the way the tournament's going to shape up.
From
two-
now on, this is the new
2002,
I really think.
Florida Atlantic was a 15 seed. They lost to Alabama.
All right.
2002, that was Florida Atlantic's only tournament appearance until this year.
Mhm.
They were 0-1.
Yep.
Now, you know, in some-
Jason's jumping in here. Those 4 schools made the Sweet 16 during that 40-year period. Of the Elite 8 teams, only UConn has won a national championship. No coach has. Once Izzo got bounced, whew, no coaches. So somebody's going to get their first ever.
That's right.
If UConn wins the national championship this year, they will have 5 titles in a 24-year period. Yep.
No, not too shabby.
3 under Calhoun, 1 under Kevin Ollie. Yep.
And where is Kevin Ollie now? Got me. I know he's probably coaching somewhere.
You got Brett on the research over there already. Where is Kevin? Where is Kevin Ollie now? Can you Google that? Where is Kevin Ollie right now? It'll pop up on. It says right here in the bed.
It just goes to show you a guy can win a national championship and he still gets fired later on, eventually.
He is with Overtime Elite.
Oh,
Oh wow, that powerhouse.
Is that a G
They probably
League
are a
team?
powerhouse. Okay.
G League.
Okay. Since you brought that up, give me more. What other? What? Tell me who else has won a national title in college basketball is what we're discussing right now. A national title in college basketball, and then been sit walking later. Is there more? I mean, nothing jumps into my mind
me either.
right off the bat.
Right.
Most time, those guys get to leave on their own.
On their own accord.
And
yeah.
if you look at coaches of today, that there's only a handful that's won a national title.
Oh, I know.
Once Krzyzewski, Boeheim, Roy Williams, those kind of guys
Those
like that have
guys
stepped
left.
down. That takes care of a lot of championships.
Sure does.
I guess Bill Self would be the current
He's
leader
the
with
current,
two.
Current maestro.
Don't he have
yeah.
two?
Patino.
Patino has two different teams too. Yeah. Will that ever happen again? Somebody win a title at those two rivals, Kentucky.
No, that's
and Louisville.
unheard of.
Yeah.
Is that Louisville?
And he made
one-
the Final Four.
Is that one
with
vacated?
Providence.
It's vacated, though. You're right.
Yeah, it is vacated officially, but in our
We don't even talk about vacations.
in our minds, we
Exactly. Just like me and Lenny's had this discussion before with the basketball, the football, the Legion, baseball. You still win it.
I still say that Reggie
But
Bush won
just
the
scoot over
Heisman.
every side of Mike.
Yeah.
You were saying, did they kind of push Fisher out at Michigan after a while?
Well, that's right.
That's very possible.
You know, because he was first.
Steve
He's interim and then
Fisher
won the
would be-
title, and then
Steve Fisher
he
would
was
be
there
your.
because he recruited the Fab Five and all that, but I didn't know whether
That's right.
we got pushed out and went to San Diego State or not. And I don't know if you'd really categorize it. I don't know that he was fired.
I wonder
I
what
know.
kind
He
of
resigned under
turnaround they had to
He
have.
he was an assistant for the Sacramento Kings for one season in between those two.
Makes you think that, don't it?
Makes you think he
Once
was
he was
pushed
on the
out.
West Coast, then he got a
San
job,
Diego State,
right?
did he?
Is that what you're saying?
Now I know this much. He
Still talking about Fisher?
Yeah.
Brett? Yeah.
Fisher led San Diego State to the. They made the big dance under him, as I recall,
Dropped several times.
several times.
Yep.
Well, they said that last night that Dutcher, the guy that's the coach
Yeah,
now,
Brian Dutcher.
was his 18-year assistant with him at San Diego State.
Yeah.
So he's there. Didn't seem like he'd have been there that long. But
Yeah.
Where did
It says in 1997 there was a scandal with Steve Fisher.
Recruiting.
Yep,
Okay.
and they fired him a week before practice was set to begin for the 97-98 season.
we probably remember that if you go
Yeah.
back and watch the details of the stuff on the
Who
on Sports
replaced
Center
him
or
then?
whatever. Who replaced him at that time?
Yeah.
Who?
Amaker, wasn't
Who replaced
it?
Fisher?
Was it Tommy Amaker?
Did
Oh, I
Amaker
forgot
coach at
about
Michigan?
it. He did.
I don't
He
even
did.
remember that.
yeah, it might have been.
That was
him.
an undistinguished tenure.
Tommy Amaker, because
He
went
did.
from Seton Hall to Michigan.
That's right. That's right.
And then I guess it was Beelan after that, I guess.
Yeah. No, there was one in between there.
between.
Brian Ellerby, 97 to 01, and then Amaker was 01 to 07.
Must not have been very good under Brian Ellerby.
On 62 and 60.
Wow.
He's not very
Wow.
good at.
I want to know
Michigan.
where
That's
Steve
not enough
Fisher
games.
went to college. I want to know where Steve Fisher went to college.
He was not a Michigan man. I don't
Well, then Bo Schembechler would have never gave him the job. That's exactly where I was going with
Illinois State.
that. Illinois State.
Yeah.
Who was the
He was,
coach?
he was a
that,
Michigan assistant for 8 years before
Who was
he
the coach that
became head
resigned, like in the season, and Bo Schembechler?
Bill
It was Bill something. I can see him, tall, lanky.
Frieder.
Frieder.
Bill Frieder.
Frieder. Yeah.
Bill Frieder decided he was going to leave. He's going to coach the rest of the way, though. And Bo said no.
He's going to take his talents to Arizona State.
But he was going to finish out the season.
That's right.
Yeah, he was wanting to finish, wasn't he? Right at the NCAA
Yeah.
tournament,
Yeah.
right before it
He
started.
wanted to
Yeah.
finish it. Yeah.
And then, no, we will have a Michigan man. That's a famous quote, wasn't it, from Schembechler back in the day?
And we
A
know what
Michigan man
Fisher
will coach.
did with his interim job.
You know what's funny, though? Bo Schembechler got it started at Ohio State.
Yeah.
The biggest rival, right? I don't know if he went to school there and played there, but he coached there, I'm pretty sure.
He did coach there under
Yeah.
Woody Hayes.
Yeah. Yep.
That's right.
And then he went over to the rival.
He played at Miami of
Yeah,
Ohio.
wasn't he one of
Did he?
Yeah.
Cradle of Coaches? wasn't he?
Cradle of
Miami.
Coaches.
It was one of those.
Miami of O.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he was head coach at Miami of Ohio for 5 years before
Cradle of Coaches.
Michigan.
Yeah, I found a little bit of information, but not exactly what I was looking for on Fisher. I'm glad you found the college.
Now, okay,
that
when
he went to.
when Fisher took over as interim coach, they won the national title with Rumel Robinson. Is that correct? Correct.
So he did win it just as an interim coach
Remember?
stepping in.
Rumel hits 2 free throws.
I got my years mixed up, to be honest with you, because I was thinking about the Fab Five, but you're right. So who was the head coach? Was Fisher the head coach through the Fab Five through both years?
Yeah. He was.
Okay, and those years were 92 and 93.
Was it?
Because Duke and Carolina won in 92 and
That's right.
93, and
That's
that's who
right.
beat them.
Got to the championship game both years, right?
Yep. Wow. You know what? They're still recognized a lot as the greatest freshman class of all time.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, freshman classes, I sent Mike a message last night, and Brett, that I saw over the last 2 nights, I think, of watching college basketball and the Sweet 16 round. I saw 8 teams that Duke couldn't have handled. At least 8
we
teams.
know they couldn't handle Tennessee.
Anybody that was big and physical, like some of San Diego State would be a horrible matchup for them.
Alabama would be a hard matchup.
Yeah, I still,
Texas.
So brings me the reason I brought that up. I want to go back. Now, don't get me wrong, Miami's still playing.
Yeah.
And this is the furthest they've ever been, right? The match it. Last year they were there. This year
2
they're
straight,
there.
2 years in a row.
2 years
to
in
the
a row.
Elite Eight.
But was the ACC weak compared to?
Not as bad as they say.
But you know what it tells
It
me?
was off, but not.
You know what it tells me? All the Power Fives are weaker than they used to be.
Yeah.
They're all weaker because look what we've got. What we just talked about.
Yeah.
Those teams that are making.
What do you
it.
got? What conferences do you have, Brad?
Well, Florida Atlantic's in Conference USA.
Conference USA.
Kansas State's Big 12.
Can you name me a couple Conference USA teams just so I'm familiar with? Oh, that's
UNCC.
Charlotte's in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Charlotte's in that one.
Middle Tennessee, UAB,
I'm sure East Carolina's in that Conference USA. I better be careful.
Western Kentucky, Louisiana
Aren't they?
Tech, UTEP.
Is East
Charlotte.
Carolina? No, I'm wrong on that.
Not anymore.
I know what they're in. It's a AA. I don't
They're
know.
in
It's
American
American Athletic. I knew it was AA.
American Athletic.
American Athletic.
San Diego State's in what, the Western Conference? Or
But let's see,
Mountain
Gonzaga is in the West Coast
West
Conference.
Coast.
In the Big East, you got UConn and Creighton.
Right.
San Diego State is in the Mountain West.
Mountain West. That's what I was thinking of.
And then you got Miami and Texas, ACC and Big 12. So 2 Big 12, 2 Big East, 1 ACC.
Here's a nice fact from Jason.
So there's still 5 Power Fives.
This is the first tournament that each Power 6 conference he calls. I guess he includes the Big East.
Yeah, I guess that would be a.
In
This is the first
basketball,
tournament
yeah.
that each Power 6 conference has at least how many losses? Just think about that for a minute.
First NCAA tournament.
First NCAA tournament that all 6 Power 6 conferences have at least this many losses now.
In the tournament.
Do you know how many that would be? I'll give you a hint. It comes out to be 36. So do the math, Mike Powell.
I
don't even get the question.
I totally. Okay. There's 6 Power 6 conferences.
Answer 6.
There's 6 Power 6 conferences, right? And this is the first year that they have this many losses. The conferences have this many losses each. Have lost this many. 6 losses.
6 from each conference.
Yep.
You still don't get it?
So 6
Brett.
from each.
Yep.
So that's
That's
30.
right.
Not really.
Okay. I mean, that's a lot of losses.
It
That
is.
means they had that many teams make it. They had at least 6 teams make it.
Well, the ACC didn't.
They've dropped 6 teams out.
Didn't the ACC have 5 teams make it?
Well, I don't know then. Correct him if
Well,
that's
I
the
thought-
case.
that's what I
Duke,
thought.
State, Virginia, and Pitt are out.
Correct.
Miami's in.
Miami's in.
Vince-
Georgia Tech. That's a joke, by the way.
Did you say Virginia?
Yeah. Duke, Virginia, NC State, and Pitt are
Vatek
all
didn't
out.
make it.
Mm-mm.
Tech did not make it.
Clemson and
They only had 5 teams make it,
Clemson NIT.
Okay.
and 4 of them
Okay.
are out.
Well,
That's
that's
what-
why you couldn't figure it out. Then it's
Not quite right.
Does it mean every individual team has at least 6 losses?
no. I guess it don't. I guess some of them have had 7.
Yeah.
Well, it says each Power 6 conference has at least 6 losses. Is what he typed, and the ACC cannot be included
They
in
can't
that.
have
Right?
6. 'Cause
They wouldn't have but 4
Right.
at this
4.
point. At this point. At this point. Who's your pick to win it right now?
NC State.
Well, I'm sticking with Texas. I got no reason to change.
I don't know who I picked in the beginning.
I wasn't even my question.
Who I'm picking now?
Mhm.
UConn.
Yeah.
The way that
It's hard not to.
playing.
Hard not to.
Double-digit wins. They've looked just terrific.
Who you got, Lenny?
And I hate to say that because I don't like UConn. I don't like them for 1999.
I do like them. My problem with only problem I have with Texas is they
you
play
don't-
Miami tomorrow. That's the scariest matchup
Yeah.
for anybody.
101, 100. It could be.
Well, Texas plays some defense.
Yeah, well,
I don't know if they can slow Miami down.
they all claim to play.
Well,
some
Houston
defense.
was the number 2 defensive team in the country, and look what Miami shredded.
How many did they
them.
score?
89.
89.
89.
Yeah, it's the first time they give up 80 points this year.
89. Has there been a better game in the tournament? I sent you guys a message on this one than Kansas State and
Michigan State.
Michigan
Probably
State.
Best
not.
game of the tournament.
I love that game.
I thought that Gonzaga and UCLA was great.
UCLA.
It was, but I slept through that one.
Yeah.
David Bird filled me in on all that one, talking about how many comebacks there were.
It
and
was.
it-
Back
Yeah,
and
that was-
forth.
that
he
was
said
great.
UCLA played a perfect first half,
They did.
led by what, 13, 14
Yeah,
maybe?
13.
Gonzaga stunk it up in the first half.
Yeah, but then it just flip flopped.
Yep.
You know,
They finally-
and that he said he thought that UCLA even built or Gonzaga built a 9-point lead,
did.
only to have it go away.
Yeah, with a couple
Very
minutes
late.
left.
It's
Yeah.
late.
Yeah. I wish I had that one recorded. Maybe it'll be on
Drew
Classic.
Timmy
or something
scored
one day.
36.
And how about this guy?
Lenny's favorite player.
UCLA was missing 2 starters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay.
That's-
Name me the teams right now that may be totally staff. I mean, right now, we got superstars out for
Yeah.
various
Yeah.
reasons, but
Yeah, I
we
mean,
got them
that-
out.
Yeah, this time of year, everybody's got injuries. I mean,
And well, Texas lost one in the first 2 minutes of that game last night. They lost a starter, and
He
I don't
was
know,
in a boot.
I don't know what his status
Uh-oh.
is going to be, but
You ever tried to play in a boot?
Probably UConn's the healthiest.
Yeah.
I don't know. They've been hurt, but now they've got kind of healthy.
I think-
Late.
What do you not like about UConn, Mike? I thought you'd maybe be a fan
Never
since
liked
it
Jim
was
Calhoun.
since it was a Hurley coaching them.
I do now.
Nah.
Okay, I'm fine with Hurley.
Yep.
I didn't like Jim Calhoun, and I'll never forgive UConn for beating
That's not their fault.
what I thought was the best Duke team.
I don't hate other
ever.
programs because
The 1999 Duke team, in my view, was the most talented team they've ever had.
yeah. I said we've talked about this. I think it's my most disappointing loss
It
as
was.
a Duke fan.
It was.
Um,
Now, credit to them. I mean, they had a little guard. I can't remember his name, but he sliced and
Lenny,
diced
think
it.
about that. What, as a Carolina fan, I'll ask Jason too, and Monty. What is the most? We said it was the most disappointing season this year because the expectations were at least to get in the tournament,
Yeah.
But what is the most disappointing loss that you had? And it has to be a title game that you thought you were going to win. That's my guess.
Had-
I mean-
you talking about North Carolina?
Yeah.
It's got to be
Yeah.
the Villanova last. second
No,
time.
I don't think
No?
so.
No.
I mean, it wouldn't be to me.
well, that was a heartbreaking loss, but
It would be Marquette if
But
it
they-
was me.
Oh, yeah.
They were
Marquette.
behind 30 seconds before that
Yeah.
in the Villanova game.
Yeah.
Less than that, less-
Now, some of these people won't be old enough to remember Marquette, but it would be Marquette if it was me.
They had them by 11 points. Then
Yeah.
they went to the Four Corners
Yeah.
and blew it.
And also another one that comes to my mind is Indiana
Yeah.
with Isaiah.
Yeah.
That was one I thought Carolina would win, but I don't know why, but I did. But the Marquette one might be,
If I would say the Marquette, that's.
yeah, because just like for reasons Mike said, that
Of course, then again, during that time, that was a team that shouldn't have been there.
Yep.
I mean, it's hurt. You talk
Yeah.
about a player being hurt. They had 2 players. One player didn't even play. Tom Lagarde didn't even play in the
didn't play at all.
Tommy
entire
Lagarde.
tournament.
Right.
You got a point. That's right.
Walter Davis had his fingers taped together, and all during the whole.
And then there was old Butch Lee,
Butch
Yeah,
Lee.
didn't he?
Butch
You know, Duke's got a killer like that too. The Kentucky guy, Givens.
Jack Givens.
Jack Givens, that had 40-some against Duke in a title
42
game.
against a Mike
And
Kaminsky
Lee's
team.
game was similar to that. Butch Lee's game was similar to that against Carolina. I don't know if he hit 40 or not,
No,
but
he didn't score 4.
but he was-
Score was
he-
what?
Why is it that some players have an out-of-mind experience against Duke? I just can't understand.
my guess is, now Lenny can correct me if
Remember
he thinks
McCullough?
otherwise. Right
Yeah.
now, the team everybody wants to beat
Yeah.
when they play them is Duke.
Mhm.
I mean, that's just the way it is right now.
That's right.
So they come in very focused, right?
Well,
Yeah, I would say Tennessee
hard.
played their best game
They
of the season.
well,
last
obviously
week-
they did
last
because they
weekend.
did not play it the next night, 2 nights, or whatever, 4 nights later.
they went
did.
back to being
But-
the offensively challenged team they were before.
And I thought, and they didn't. I mean, they didn't play great offensively against Duke, but
Well, they really
they
hadn't been a great offense.
they played
Yeah.
with such intensity
Yeah.
Why don't
that-
it work that way in football?
that
Because
they
because
can't play that way all the time.
If you walked on the
That's
college
right.
football field right now today, who's the team that you would most want to beat? You know what I mean? As a nation, whether it's
Alabama.
What's Alabama?
there you
It's gotta
go.
be Alabama.
There you go.
That's right.
That's exactly would be my thoughts. That you want to, you schedule them because you think you can beat them. Georgia played some of their best football
Yeah.
against Alabama the last couple of years.
That's right.
That's who you want to beat. And I don't know if it trickles down to other sports or not, like the pros or anything. Is there a professional team out there that I mean, let's face it, the Dallas Cowboys, they haven't been the greatest in the last 30 years, but that's still a team that when other ones step on the field, that's the one they want to beat. The New York Yankees, you love to go there and win a series, have a chance to win a series. The Dodgers, even in the National League, it's the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't think it's quite as big as those college teams.
No, it's
so.
not. It's not. It's really not because I don't think it. That's just
And
because
I think the
student
Duke thing will
mentality.
drop off a little bit now that Coach K's.
It will.
out of
It probably
It
will.
will.
Unless they remain very good every year, and then it's gonna.
Yeah.
If you can remain, if they're going to be in the top 10 every year, it may not change much. They didn't visit the top 10 a lot this year.
Yeah, and the big man that scored 27 for Tennessee against Duke had 4 points.
And then you get them in the second half late.
Yeah.
Well, let me just throw this
Against-
out there. I don't know how often this happens
Against,
in the NCAA tournament, but you look at regular season basketball, in college basketball, I'm going to say 80% or higher of teams that beat Duke or North Carolina lose their very next game,
Yeah.
no matter who it's against.
Mm-hmm.
Brett, do you think that's pretty close? I mean,
I'd like to see the analytics on that.
there
but I bet
again, it's two
true.
teams that everybody else wants to beat, so they put their heart and soul into that one game, and the next game they lay a dud.
That's
And
true.
I mean, it's not always that way, but it's
Well, remember when Lehigh beat Duke, they lost their next game. I
You-
mean, it happened. We see it all the time.
I talk to coaches a lot, different coaches, different sports through the year, and one of the things you hear is getting ready for a game mentally and being up. And coaches say you can't amp them up every single game.
Mm-hmm.
It won't work. It won't work. You have to pick and choose
Yeah.
the ones that you get them up for mentally, ready just to run through a wall, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
You have to pick and choose because they will not come out that way. They can't do it. It's emotionally impossible,
Mhm.
to
You're
be that
spent
for
after
every
you-
single game, and especially in a sport, basketball, where you play 2 to 3 times a week. Football's
Right.
once a week, and you think it'd be maybe a little easier, but they claim it's not.
I agree.
But in basketball, when you play, you just get done beating somebody, a very good team, and here 2 days later, you might even underestimate what this other team is like because you just knocked off, brand X right there. That's who you really wanted to beat. And I think that's what happens to the teams that play Duke and Carolina, especially ACC teams. I think you see it more in ACC play than anything else.
Well,
beat
like
Duke and then lose,
yeah.
beat Carolina, then lose.
Yeah, the first time Miami played Duke at home, they ran them out of the gym.
That's why you want that schedule where you play. No, you want the schedule where you have them. If you're Duke, you want the schedule where you play them after they played Carolina. Because if they happen to beat Carolina, then you're getting them on a good night, and vice versa.
That's what I
So,
like.
but just real quick, Jason says to clarify on the Power 6 stats, first time that the remaining Power 6 schools in the tournament have at least 6 losses. Oh, it's on their record.
Okay.
I thought he meant 6 losses. The conference had 6 in the tournament.
Oh,
But
okay,
okay, it's
okay.
team-wise.
Team-wise.
At least 6 losses.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the Miami's 28-7.
Right. Jason says his worst loss, and then we're going to take a timeout, was to Villanova just because it was a buzzer beater.
Yeah.
My second is the 2007 loss in the Elite Eight to Georgetown. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does that ring a bell with you, Lenny?
I don't remember that game.
2007.
Roy Hibbert, Georgetown team.
Is that right? Thank goodness we got Brett for memory here. Georgetown are leading by 8 in the last 3 minutes. I don't even recall that.
Well, you know, I was going to say,
Yeah, I think I do.
Hibberts, and what was the green guy that played in the NBA? I believe he's Green.
was it Jeff Green?
Jeff.
Jeff Green, yeah.
I will say this right here. One more on Jason's, and I hate to read this part. I wasn't born for the game in '77, so and I knew he wasn't. I was born in '81.
Well, I was going to say,
don't be rubbing that in.
another one of Duke's tough ones was when they played UConn in the Final Four.
Yeah, that one
with
hurt, too.
J.J. Redick
Yeah.
and Chris
Oh, yeah.
Duhon. They had
Oh,
a
yeah.
they had a 10-point lead with like 2 minutes left.
Yeah,
And blew it.
another UConn crusher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
But that UConn was supposed to win that game, but not when Duke had the lead, a 10-point lead with the minute or two
UConn
left.
had Duke's number when it came to
They did.
playing in
That
the Final
UConn
Four.
team
I think
had,
Duke might have beat them once in the Final Four,
Okafor.
but did Duke beat them once in the Final Four, but not in a title game?
I don't remember them beating them in the Final
Okay,
Four.
maybe
They
not.
beat
They-
them in a regional final.
Leitner hit a shot.
Leitner
Yeah, that's
hit
right.
a shot
That's
from
right.
the corner.
That was in Meadowlands.
Meadowlands, yeah.
Leitner hit quite a few shots.
He had quite a few
that,
to put people out.
that year. As we go to timeout, that's a good thought because we got a lot of haters on here. But I want to know where you would rank Christian Leitner on the greatest college basketball players of all time. Back in a moment.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Beauchamps, I have a toothache. Where should I go?
Well, Tim, I'd go to John Cloninger Dentistry in Lincolnton. He takes care of all my dental needs. Cleanings and deep cleanings, crowns, bridges, fillings, dentures. He could even help you with your sleep apnea.
And guess what, Bo? He has a partner, Dr. Aaron Hevner.
That's right, Tim. Stop in at Dr. John Cloninger's Dentistry today. Let Dr. Erwin Hebner and John brighten your smile.
John Cloninger Dentistry, 904 Doncha Drive, Lincolnton. Hours Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Or call 704-735-0765.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit MooneyInsurance.com. Hey, it's Lanny Ford, and I want to invite you to join me, Captain Ron, and Calvin Hastings as we broadcast live on WLON this Saturday, March 25th, during the grand opening of Bean Brothers Hardware and Supply in Lincolnton. Find out how you could win a 48-inch Tiger Cat Skag mower with a 26-horsepower Yamaha engine valued at $12,000. We'll be there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with free Dairy Queen hot dogs, Subway sandwiches, chips, and drinks. Take 5% off Skag mowers financed that day. Take up up to 10% off the cash price. Plus, save $685 on the new Husqvarna Z454 Husqvarna mower and get a free trimmer and a free blower. Buy 3 Husqvarna commercial chainsaws and get 15% off each one. See the huge newly expanded mulch yard, the new greenhouse, and reps will be on hand to help you. Plus, register to win some great door prizes this Saturday, March 25th from 10 to 2. Bean Brothers Hardware and Supply, 969 Reefsville Road in Lincoln. Like them on Facebook, too. See you Saturday.
Lake Electric Company was founded in 1984. They are licensed in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia. Safety and quality is first in everything they do. For all your electrical needs, serving Lincoln County, Catawba County, Burke County, Mecklenburg County, and all the surrounding counties. When it has to be done right, call Lake Electric. Let them take care of your family. Lake Electric Company, 4362 Providence Mill Road, Maiden. Call 704-483-4000. Online at lakeelectric.com.
Stop by Lowe's Home Improvement in Lincolnton for their great deals with the current spring refresh. Looking for appliances with savings up to $1,000 on selected new refrigerators, savings up to $200 on select ranges, and up to $340 on select washer-dryer pairs. Also up to 50% off select bathroom fixtures. And don't forget the outside essentials, like ladders, to make the outside cleanup easier. Shop Lowe's in Lincolnton for the things you want to buy today.
What a night of jazz we've got lined up for you this Sunday night right here on the Jazz Track. This is Mike. Hope you'll join me. Great jazz from Scott Whitfield's Jazz Orchestra, Marlena Shaw, Ray Brown, Stanley Turnerton, George Benson, Cheryl Benteen, Maceo Parker, the Blazing Redheads, and many more. All right here Sunday night, 8 to 11. The best in jazz is WLON. Get you on the Jazz Track.
And welcome back. Glad to have you with us. David Keever, Brett Keever, Mike Powell, Lenny Anthony as I go around the room here. If you're watching on video, you might even see Lanny occasionally printing a shirt behind us here.
You will.
In our studios. Rain this morning, should be heading out pretty early. Let's double check that real quick on the weather, because it's kind of rough this morning. It says it's raining, more rain coming here in just a few minutes. I didn't realize that, but 62 degrees too, you know.
That's
looks like 11 o'clock. It should be out sometime between 10 and 11, so may still be able to get in some outdoor activities. If you the Bean Brothers remote today that Lanny's going to be attending here starting
Bean
at 10.
Brothers remote.
Bean Brothers remote at 10
That means he
10
will be
a.m.
going to breakfast.
Over on the Reepsville Road. Lanny, you missed it. Mike was buying this morning. We discussed picking up tabs last week at breakfast.
And he's going to the Bean Brothers.
Mike was buying. That's a joke. Surely you don't believe any of that.
You're taking rain.
Yeah, it's raining too.
You did say Bean Brothers, didn't you?
With an N, like Nancy.
Right.
Yes, Bean Brothers, like Nancy. I did. Because when I first heard that was being bought out, Mike, I thought that it was Wes and Matt and some of those guys doing it. So it wasn't wasn't those Beam.
No.
They're the boys, not the brothers. Anyway, remember, it's the Beam
Boys.
Boys.
That's right.
That's what they are known as.
Known for.
Miami. This team just continues to amaze to me what they can do. The Houston. The boxing match last night between Houston and Miami, when did it when did you really feel like Houston's not going to win this? Miami just took control, and it seemed like the entire –
Well, I thought they had –
I know for at least 10 minutes I felt that way, game minutes.
I thought they were in control most of the way.
Yeah.
Their guards just.
We have not seen,
Well,
you
Miami was up 6 at half, and I think they scored the first 5 to go up 11. But then Houston got it down to 3 at one time.
Okay, they did make a run.
Was it Bobby Knight who first said the first 5 minutes of the second half are
absolutely
the most critical minutes?
Yep, they are.
And we've seen that a lot in this tournament right here. I mean, that's never been more present.
Like Princeton was only down by 3 points?
Yeah,
against Creighton at the half. I believe that's right, isn't it?
Yeah, 3 or 4. It was real.
I asked the question before we went to break, and just keep thinking about this. If you want to weigh in, I've already got two top 3, and that's what I like. Go ahead and give me your top 3 college basketball players of all time. And I think North Carolina fans will agree with me. Yes, Michael Jordan is considered the greatest or one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But he was not the standout kind of guy in college. He was great, don't get me wrong, good.
Yeah.
I don't know who to compare him to. I'd let Lenny do that as far as a college player, as far as how good he was. But it's hard to get out of your mind what he's done in the NBA, and you want to say him, but the younger people that want to say him as a college, it's not. He's not. He was very good in college. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I'm not even sure he's the greatest in my mind. The player played at Carolina.
Wow.
Probably Hansborough to me. If you're looking at
right.
Hansborough, yeah.
That's a good point right there. Lenny says he's got a player that may be more accomplished as well as Tyler Hansborough and what he did at North Carolina.
That ties in what Lanny said. How do players not transition? Well, he didn't fit the mold of the NBA.
Right.
Today, especially.
Right. Yeah.
Even 10 years ago.
Didn't really have a face-up game.
You can look a lot of times, though, and think, this guy's great, and he won't have a great pro career. Thinking in your mind he won't. Because one guy we brought up this morning that we really think will have a good pro career is Drew Timme out of Gonzaga. Lenny loves the words maestro of the footwork. That's what he talks about Timme when he talks about him.
I think Drew Timme may be the best player in college basketball this year. I really do after watching him in the tournament.
Call him a poor man's poor man's.
But does
Bird.
that? But can
poor man's Larry
will
Bird?
his skills translate to the NBA? I don't know.
I call him a poor man's Larry Bird, but but.
Okay, Rodney sends me one name.
Bird does, but the other intangibles, it seems like.
Oh, yeah, his ability around the blocks, his footwork, wow. Yeah, he's something.
I just can't see that there's not a place for him in the NBA for 10 years. He's not going to be a superstar, I don't think, but he'll make every team wherever he's at better. Is the way I look at it.
Right.
I might be wrong.
He will. Can't you see him though? 15 and 8 points, rebounds in the NBA. And Brett, you watch it more than we do. Is he?
He doesn't fit the mantra of today of the NBA, but just the way he plays the game. But it's just.
And he could get to even higher. You know what they called him last night? What they called him last night was, and this is big. I think they called him. I think I'm talking about the right guy. Maybe a little better version of Kevin McHale.
Yeah, Kevin McHale.
It's what that he has a better shot. He can play inside because of the footwork, because that was McHale's strength, and that he can, good passer.
Well, McHale could
use
a
little better
hand. McHale could. He
just involves everybody. I want him at times to shoot more, but he doesn't involve everybody in the.
Rodney missed my question this morning totally. Our question was, where does Christian Laettner rank as the greatest college basketball player? So he's gonna have to resend his.
I got one from
before
Milton.
I'll read it.
Here's one from Milton Saint on Facebook. He says Bobby Hurley.
Yeah, Bobby Hurley. Bobby Hurley was very good in college, but
he won 2 national championships.
He did. But you know who the leader of that team was? And he let you know it right quick. And those two had plenty of disagreements.
Oh yeah.
But the outcome was wins.
Yep.
Jason says Timme is projected as a second-round pick. He is eligible to come back to school to play a 5th year.
Wow.
Because of the COVID. Now, I'm guessing that he will probably do that.
He had said earlier this was it, but now they've been kind of hedging on that here, and if they don't win, so I don't know.
Give me your top 3, Rodney, and we'll get them out. I need your top 3 in order. I'll say this. Rodney has mentioned somebody we've already mentioned this morning as his top college player of all time.
Sun's out.
Where? Here. Wow. Hey, a little bit of sunshine shining off the trees this morning between the clouds. Yeah. ACC guy. Not Tobacco Road guy.
Not Tobacco Road guy.
Ralph Sampson.
Bingo. He says Ralph was, and this is what I want you to do. I want you to mention the ones that you saw, and you remember, because you really, you can't go back and see. I left this guy out. I don't know how you leave this guy out, but Don Revels just sends me a list of 3, and there's somebody that obviously ought to be in the top 3. But he says in this order: Bill Walton, this guy, and then Leitner. So,
yeah,
you want to guess who that is?
Oscar Robertson.
Who'd you say?
I didn't say.
Oh,
is he a multi-year player?
Yeah. Yep.
They've been somebody would have finished.
Yeah.
I don't think you can put a one and done on this list.
No.
4 years.
No.
At least.
No.
I'd say 3 technically.
Yeah. I don't think have we. Well, some of them didn't get to play but 3 that we've named, but they were there for 4 because you had to play freshman basketball when you came in, just like Alcindor and Walton and others. But we just talked about this guy last week. I think if you'd have had the 3-point line,
Maravich.
Oh,
yeah.
Maravich. Pete
Maravich.
Yeah.
I mean,
42 points a
how
game.
How can you not be mentioned as the top college player of all time? I don't know how good his teams were or anything
At
like
LSU.
that. Yeah.
I mean,
They weren't
some
great.
of his dad,
But yeah,
let's get it, guys. He's going to shoot for me, and that's.
he did throw.
Think about this guy. If Press Maravich had not taken the LSU job and stayed at NC State, Maravich would have played at NC State. Am I right?
That's correct.
Pretty much.
Most likely.
Did he not? I'm asking this.
I don't know why he would have went anywhere else to play with his dad.
Didn't he go to LSU because Pete couldn't score 800?
That's it.
On the SAT.
Sadly, that is.
Is that right?
That's it.
That was
the ACC had that ironclad rule. You had.
You mean it was enforced back then?
It was enforced. That is the reason.
He left and went to LSU because
Lenny,
he was gonna
you're
coach
right.
him.
All right.
That's what I had heard.
That is. I saw that one of the ACC history shows.
Now listen to
Tournament
these.
shows.
Butch Parker says Leitner, number 3. Number 2, Bill Walton. Number 1, Alcindor.
Yeah.
So, which
it's
is
a great list.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar today, or whichever way you want to look at it.
Well, in my lifetime, I didn't see Bill Walton or Kareem play college. I didn't see Jordan play college, but obviously I would have Leitner at the top of my list.
I think Rodney's trying to be different. He's trying to be different this morning because to go with Ralph Sampson, he got 2 guys on here we have not named. Now, I'll say this about them. One of them did win a national title. The other did not. But the other was really, really, really good in college, and this will be your biggest hint here, and would have been dynamite in the NBA.
Len Bias.
Danny Manning is his other.
Manning and the Miracles. Yeah. Okay.
What about Patrick Ewing?
You got to.
Ewing was
big
time.
Big
time.
3 championship games.
I would put Ewing in front of. I'm ACC. I would really put Ewing in front of Ralph Sampson. They were. The
I would
same
too.
Era,
Yeah.
But
I know who won more titles.
Sampson's accomplishments.
One.
NIT championship.
Yeah, he made the final. Virginia made the Final Four his freshman year, but their best team was put out by NC State.
While
in the
Virginia
Western
had
Regional Final.
Virginia had a good supporting cast. Ewing had better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Ewing had better.
He did.
In that, and I can't name them all, but the one guy I remember the most off of some of those Georgetown teams was Reggie. Help me with his last name, and he was skinny as a rail.
Yeah.
Reggie Williams.
Williams, but that guy could play.
Yeah.
That guy could play, and I think he played a year or 2 with Ewing, didn't he? He was on
He did.
Ewing's way out. But I saw somebody in the crowd the other night at a game, and I thought it was him, and then I started thinking it can't be him. I wouldn't recognize him. I thought I would, but I'm not sure I would recognize him. But
I believe Ralph went to you was talking about freshman. I believe it was his sophomore year that he went to the Final Four. I believe 80 when Indiana 81.
Oh, was it his sophomore year?
80,
Yeah, that's right.
Whenever 81.
That's right.
But it's 81. Carolina, Indiana.
That's right.
Virginia. LSU, I believe, was the other team.
That's right. That's right.
Carolina, that was kind of.
But he got to the regional finals in '83, and then the cardiac pack put him out.
40 years ago today.
40 years ago today, Lenny's got to say.
It might not be the same date, but on this it's when State beat Virginia.
Yep.
State beat Virginia in the NCAA tournament.
Elite Eight.
A big upset. They had already beat them in the ACC tournament, right?
ACC tournament.
Was that the finals? Was that
the date might have not been? The date might not be the same, but it was 40 years ago. In this.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was the Elite Eight. Then State had to beat an unbelievable Las Vegas team in the regional final.
Sidney Green.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. Okay, just keep going. Who did State beat in the semis in
Georgia,
and then in the finals, of course, Houston.
Houston.
Okay.
Think about it.
I didn't even remember that.
Remember Houston, number 1 seed all year, number 1 in the polls. Here they are again.
Yeah.
They're not tasting the natty again.
Underachieving. You know the thing about that State team, as I recall, they had no depth.
No. That's 6 guys.
Who's the 6th man?
Had a guy named Phil
Spence.
That's it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
That's all they
had. But they didn't have.
No.
I mean, it was a time where those basically those 5 guys got out there and played.
Yeah, the 2 guards, Winslow Charles, Thurl Bailey, and Charles Shackelford. That was it. But basically it.
Why did I think Spence was? Why did I think Spence was before them?
I think I thought Spence played with the Thompson.
I think he did.
You may be right. I may be wrong. Yeah. But what depth did that 83?
I don't even remember them having a guy come off the bench that made a difference at all. Low Wittenberg and
Charles Bailey,
Thurl
McQueen,
Thurl Bailey. I think that was the 5. And I don't know if anybody. And Gannon, somebody out there.
Don't forget about Terry.
Well, you might have named 6 right there.
So somebody
maybe Gannon didn't start.
Terry Gannon, but he didn't usually start. You're right. Terry
Jason says, in my lifetime, and this is his lifetime, mine actually, believe it or not, adds a few years. And don't forget this, it'll add another one tomorrow. Did you remember that, Mike Powell?
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll be wishing you a happy birthday.
In my lifetime, Leitner is number 1. He has 4 Final Fours, 2 titles, 2 tournament game winners. Yep. They were against UConn that was in the regional final round. And
same as Kentucky.
And Kentucky, both of them. Yeah, both of them got them
to
the Final Four.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
You know what? It's funny how you remember where you were, and I was at some friends' houses watching the Kentucky game, and I remember that. But I remember where I was because the one he hit against UConn was in the middle of the day. You remember that?
Yeah,
it was like an afternoon game. Yeah. And I was playing softball with, I don't even remember the team I was playing with at the time, in a tournament in Gastonia. And there was a restaurant that we had all gone to, and we sat there and watched that game on TV in that restaurant, and that's where I watched that. That's where I saw that shot happen.
Yeah.
Didn't it also involve a pass? No, that was another play. Somebody
inbounded
to Clemson. Him. I've got the Clemson thing in my mind now. The long pass down the floor for Clemson.
Did Clemson get beat
on the same day?
Was it?
Yeah, they did.
Was it not Clemson? Well, I'm thinking, did UConn not beat Clemson before
they did.
that?
That might be what it was.
And then
length of the court pass.
And then basically it happened to UConn.
That's right.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that's right.
They did it first time, and it got done to them the second time. But yeah, he's very accomplished, and I can't. Who's the closest? Have we had anybody being that accomplished since?
No, because nobody stays.
Well, you have to get. There was only one team you can. To me, not many teams won. Not many players in college basketball since him won 2 titles.
Not many.
But now Florida did win back to back, and what's the guys?
Joakim Noah was
Joakim Noah.
He was their leader.
Yeah, Joakim Noah.
They had Al Horford.
Al Horford.
Yeah.
Al Horford.
Who's been a decent pro.
Yeah, still playing.
Still playing.
Yeah, he's still playing key minutes for Boston.
Can you guys think of a team?
Is that the last great college team?
Well, can you think of a team that won two, I should say, close enough together that players were on both?
Well, Villanova won two in a pretty close span, but their stars weren't the same.
They left, didn't they?
Yeah, they weren't the same star
that's
players.
What I thought. Well, your hottest time to leave is if you win a national title, and you were the leader, so they get out of there.
Now, Duke had a chance when Jason Williams and Boozer came back for their junior year, but they got upset by Indiana in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, Jay Williams could make a couple free throws.
Is that the way it wound up?
As I recall.
Well, they blew.
Mike's got the right year.
They blew like a 16 or 17 point lead in the second half, and yeah.
Just to do this, because we've talked a lot about the college basketball last night, and that's definitely the hot topic of what's going on right now.
Duke actually beat UConn. Oh, no, never mind. I'm sorry, this is the wrong year. They beat UConn in a Sweet 16 game.
Who beat who?
No, just go on.
Okay. I'm going to read something Jason just sent. Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart have 2 rings from Villanova on the 2016 and 18 teams. Brunson and Hart were role players in 2016. Right. Okay, we know they beat Carolina at the buzzer beater because we talked about that. Who's the other team they beat in their national title game?
Michigan.
And the Carolina one was second, right?
Carolina was
their second one. Oh, was their first one?
Carolina was the first. That was at 17.
And then they missed a year.
Or no, 16 they won it. 17 Carolina won it, and then they came back and won again in 18. I believe it's Michigan.
You think they beat Michigan?
And John
Beeline. I can't even remember that.
Yeah, the other year when Leitner hit the shot against UConn was 1990 when Duke went on and got beat by UNLV.
Okay, so that got them in the Final Four.
But it did send them to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Yep.
Basically, the one you remember the most for Duke once they got to the Final Four was the run with Kentucky and then winning those other 2 games. But the win over UNLV, I still think is their greatest win. Their greatest win
of the Leitner era.
You can't throw out national championship wins. They have to be the greatest because they didn't have one. But to beat UNLV after losing by 30 to the same group the year before,
that's right.
That's the game that seemed like it let them breathe again. You know what I mean? So, Lenny, we asked you Carolina's greatest win. We asked you what their worst loss was for you. What's their greatest win? Or maybe, is it that first national championship? I mean,
in '82.
Yeah, is it
Jordan shot?
Because that kind of got the monkey off of Dean Smith's
back. Exactly. And I thought, and Duke's probably is beating Kansas that night, but it's Vegas that everybody remembers, and a lot of people that see all those highlights probably think they beat Vegas in the title game.
That's probably the greatest. Of course, they've had some other, but that's probably the greatest team lineup they've had too.
What a baseline! Worthy, James Perkins.
Oh yeah, yep.
Wow.
You got 2 on the NBA's top 50, all time on that team.
I think it was his best team.
Jason says in modern day era of college for UNC, they had 3 players play in 3 Final Fours. Do you know those, Lenny? 3 players played in 3 Final Fours. I would not have got any of them.
3 players played 3 Final Fours.
Yeah, I mean that's just because my memory's not good enough to go back and think. I mean the guys I would have been picking would have been the the big time stars. These are good players, but they're not your Jordans.
Oh, is it like a George Lynch or somewhere around that time? Hubert Davis.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's.
Anton Jameson, one of them.
Okay. No, that's what.
Well, I know they were.
He was
there.
A bigger star.
Yeah. They were there in '91, and then they won it in '93.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe somebody around. I don't know if they were in another Final Four around that time.
One of them, I think, if I got the right guy, was known for he left the gym for a while during the game or something, went outside and then come back in. Is that right, Jason? Have I got that one right about the second one you have on the list. There's something strange happened one time, and it seemed like it might have been in a ACC tournament game or an NCAA tournament game.
3 Final Fours.
But, 3 Final Fours.
And there's 3 of them, did you say?
That's what he's got here. In modern day era, for college, for UNC, they had 3 players playing 3 Final Fours. And that is, I put it this way.
Which one?
Danny Green? Did he play?
Oh, Danny Green. Yeah.
Hansborough, I consider a superstar at Carolina, though.
Yeah, he was. He was.
Rick Fox.
No. Jason may think I'm wrong for not considering these. They were really good players. I mean, 2 of them at least were really good players. 91, 93, 95 for one of them, 95, 97, 98 for one, and 97, 98, and 2000 for one. So that's not been one of them pretty far back.
Calabria?
Dante?
Or Phelps? What was his name?
One of them's got
Derek Phelps. It's got to be. I mean, it's got to be from that same team, though. If they played in '93.
Vince Carter,
superstar. I ruled out superstars.
Okay.
No, and he only played 3 years, and he didn't go to 3 straight Final Fours.
Yeah, that's hard to do. If I'm not mistaken, one of them has the same name as a well-known college quarterback back in the day. May be wrong about that, but he's also got the okay, here's your best hint.
Shamon Williams.
Bingo, you got one
of them.
Yeah, Shamon Williams. 95, 97, 98. This one is his first name. No, his last name is Brett's son's first name.
Pat Sullivan.
Yep.
Was there a Pat Sullivan that was a QB Auburn?
There was. He won the Heisman Trophy.
So he was the first one.
He was
the early 90s.
He was the 90s.
Yeah, 91, 93, 95.
So he had a red shirt year in there too.
Yep. No, he didn't go to state.
So Sullivan and then
Shamon Williams. This one to me, I may be wrong.
Last year was in 2000.
Shamon was a pretty good scorer, but I wouldn't put him great. Lenny, right? Would you? I mean, no. And I kind of feel the same way about the other one that you guys are missing. Here's the only hint I'm gonna give you. His full name is 6 letters.
Ed Cota.
Bingo.
Ed Cota.
Hey, did that help?
I had him in my mind already. So yeah.
Ed Cota.
Now, I mean that's. So
he played in 3 and didn't win any.
97, 98, 2000.
That's right.
Is that right?
The other one's won
2000 would have been the team.
Okay.
The Final Four.
Dang, Brett.
Well, what'd you say Shamon Williams' years were?
Williams was 95, 97, and 98.
Oh, no, he didn't win one either then.
Okay.
Because they won it in 93 was their title in the 90s.
Yeah. They followed Duke twice, didn't they? Didn't 2 times they win the title after Duke did, or at least played in?
92 and 93 they did.
And then I think there was
15
another
and
time.
16. Was it 15? No, 16 they lost and 17 they won.
Okay. I knew they had made it at least championship game twice the very next year.
Or did they 2000?
Duke did.
No, 2000. Duke won in 2001. I think Maryland won it in 02.
That's right.
Miami last night, if anybody would have said, I'll give you 14 and Houston, I think everybody would have jumped all over a bet like that, right? Number 1 seed.
Yeah, I think that game had one of the biggest spreads in the Sweet 16.
The other way?
Yeah. Yeah, Houston was favored by 7.5 or something.
Well, they haven't been watching the Miami we'd been watching.
I know.
So, Houston 7.5 point favorite.
Yeah.
And now
well, let's face it, the ACC didn't get a lot of respect in this tournament.
And don't deserve any with the exception of one school.
Yeah.
For the Elite 8.
You're right.
Texas is the biggest favorite. And they play Miami. So, yeah, Vegas isn't get
Texas is favored to beat Miami?
By 4.5. That's the biggest margin of the 4 games.
Yeah. Wow.
I would not bet on those games, though, for nothing, because you know what happens? That thing, I could see Texas up 3, and I have got Miami, and then they foul them and they hit 2 free throws with 1 second to go and win by 5. That's just
I just
my
like
luck.
Miami's guards. I think
the player of the year, what's his name? Wong?
Wong.
Yeah, he's good.
And
probably that
Pack.
Miller's probably the best one they got. That swing guy.
And the guy who transferred from Kansas State.
Yeah. And Pack.
Pack.
He was the man. Well, basically, they got all 5 players on the floor can score.
That's right.
They've weapons. They're hard
Was he
to guard.
Kansas State or TCU?
Kansas State.
He was Kansas State?
Pack. Yeah, he transferred from
Who did?
I don't know why I was thinking
Which
he was
one?
TCU.
Pack.
Nigel Pack, the point guard for
So
Miami.
Kansas State could even have him
Yeah.
Yeah,
on the team.
they could have him on
They
the
could have
team.
him on this team that's made
Yeah.
the Elite Eight as well.
That's right.
And we hadn't even talked about K-State yet.
Departed.
I think K-State's good enough to win this
They
thing.
are.
I mean, they
Yeah, they're
impressed
really
me.
good.
God, I had something on the tip of my tongue. I thought of it again. Help me answer this question. I'm pretty sure I heard a couple nights ago, and you guys probably going to know this right off the bat, that they said Jim Larinaga, his coaching tree, he was in North Carolina. Brett, you might have to look that up now.
Part of Larinaga's coaching tree?
He coached
somewhere in North Carolina, an assistant for somebody in the state of North Carolina. Can you find that, Brett, and see if I'm right or wrong about that?
I don't reckon he was an assistant with Terry Holland before he went to Virginia.
Davidson.
I don't know.
Davidson. That's it. He was at Davidson.
Well, he was
Wow.
With Terry Holland?
He went with Terry.
But 71 to 76.
Him and Terry Holland were very tight.
Yeah.
That's right.
So who was Davidson's coach?
Terry Holland.
In 71 to 76.
Yeah, that's right before Holland went to Virginia.
That's right.
He went
So,
to
I
Virginia
did hear
too.
that right. Yeah, he went with him to Virginia.
Not immediately, but he went to American International as the head coach for a couple years, and then Virginia from 79 to 86 as an assistant. Bowling Green.
That's when he left.
When did he go to George Mason?
97. 97 to 2011, he was at George Mason.
I knew there was a North Carolina school. I heard that last night.
Wow.
And
I did not know that.
I didn't know it.
And now he's
I
been
didn't
at
know
Miami for 12 years.
I'm gonna throw this out at you.
Looked the same every year.
If I'm
He
not,
looks now. He looks like Jim Boeheim. Everybody's talking about how much he looks like Jim
if I'm not
Boeheim.
mistaken, in the ACC tournament final against NC State when State beat them, I think Larinaga got a technical on the Virginia bench.
Did he?
Jumping off the bench, if I'm not mistaken.
Could have
Because he
been.
had a head of hair then. He
Now-
don't even look like the same.
And
guy.
when was that? What? Who's?
That would have been 1983.
And he was with who then?
He was at Virginia.
At Virginia.
With Holland.
And you remember the game they were playing?
And of course, State went on to win. It was
Yeah. Okay. Assistants getting technicals probably don't go over well with
That doesn't go
with
well.
head coaches, but he turned out all right after that, I think. Miami over Houston, 89 to 75. San Diego State. I felt like they were going to win this game for some reason. I just felt like they were going to beat Alabama, and they did. Pretty much.
He reminds me, Larinaga reminds me of Larry David. That's who I always.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does
It's
look
like
like
his
Larry.
facial expressions
He
and
does.
everything.
He does look like Larry David too, but also Boeheim a little bit.
I tell you what, players must really love Larinaga, though. I mean,
They do.
It just looks like
Did
a
you
great
see him in the
relationship.
locker room last night doing the little,
Oh my!
hip-hop
No, I
shuffle?
didn't. I wish I would have. Maybe I'll catch
He
it
was
on video.
prancing and dancing.
It'll be on today on the pregame shows. It will be on today.
Let me ask you guys: do you think Brandon Miller's collapse in the NCAA tournament had anything to do with the pressure Alabama was under with the investigation, the murder, and everything involving that whole situation back in January?
Well, it has to be in your mind.
Yeah.
Like you can't.
He had a horrible NCAA tournament.
Can't erase it or block it from your mind.
Yeah,
right?
even one of the games they won, he had a really bad game.
Hell, and of course I know he was somewhat. He hurt a little bit, but
Yeah, he must have.
But I
yeah.
still think that
Yeah.
had to be.
Let's finish these out real
He
quick.
was three for 19 last night.
Yeah, that's
with
just
3 for 19
with 6 turnovers.
6 turnovers. I mean, you said he was injured.
I think he
That could have been a little bit to do with the Aztecs too, though.
Yeah, their defense.
You know that was.
Texas rolled over Xavier 83 to 71 in that one. Halftime, 17-point lead. No drama last night like on Thursday night.
No.
And also Creighton over Princeton. Nice run for Princeton.
It was.
I was kind of pulling for Creighton though, just because.
Well, I was wanting to see Ivy League team get to the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
They just didn't have.
They're not going to win it.
No.
Though. So that's the problem. Creighton could win it.
They
I
could
think.
win it.
Yeah.
Creighton's size inside was just way too much.
It's amazing they've got 12 losses now.
I know.
And they're in
21
the,
and 12.
But you know what?
22 and 12.
I don't know. I'd like to see their schedule.
I think
that tells me they got better.
Injuries.
They got
and
better
now
as the
they're
year
healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's face it, guys. To win it all, you got to have reasonably good health.
Right.
And you can't,
Sure.
And they
Sure.
played a good non-conference schedule, and then and then they were in that Big East, and they were seeing UConn. Villanova wasn't as good, but they're still Villanova.
Right.
And, Xavier.
We're going to run through
That
these.
was a tough conference.
Through these scores real quick, and then we got to take another time out. Gonzaga over UCLA, another classic, played the other night.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get to see it, so the best one I saw, I'm going to mention in a minute. You guys can compare them when we come back after the break. Gonzaga 79-76 over UCLA. UConn has destroyed everybody in their path so far. 88-65 over Arkansas. Florida Atlantic, I don't know what it is about this team, but you know what? There's something to say about winning mentality, and this team's 34-3.
34-3.
34-3. They won 62-55 over a good Tennessee team. And my favorite game so far of the tournament, Kansas State 98, Michigan State 93 in overtime. You guys know I'm an Izzo fan. I did not want them. I wanted Michigan State to win because I really think the guy deserves more than one title. I hope he gets his second at some time.
He does deserve more than one.
But he's a class act, and now he's
he
done.
So he deserves what you win.
He'll get to go stand.
You are what your record.
You know he gets to go stand in for Bon Jovi now at concerts when Bon Jovi needs to take a break because I've always thought he looked like Bon Jovi.
Izzo rose in my eyes after the speech he delivered in the wake of the Michigan State shooting.
Right.
He just became the face of the university.
You need to see some of his interviews on Dan Patrick.
Yeah.
He's one of the best. I love to hear him interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
They always do it in his office, and he's just sitting there relaxed. And he says things that he has been fined for.
Yeah.
In the past, so Dan gets a lot out of him. He says quite a few things that maybe he shouldn't, but
maybe he needs to quit going on there.
Yeah. If it ever gets to where it affects recruits or something, he won't be able to get somebody. He probably would, but that was one of the best, and it did go to overtime, and overtime was 16-11 in favor of K-State. And they look really good. They're a guard. You guys will have to help me with his name. But
he broke the record for assists.
He's like been the mop, the most outstanding player in this tournament so far. To me,
Marquise Noel,
and he came there he's from Manhattan, the New York Manhattan.
Little Rock.
Is that where he came
Little
from?
Rock.
He grew up in Manhattan.
Yep, and now he plays in Manhattan, Kansas. But now he's back in Manhattan. If that makes sense to you.
He scored 20 points, had 19 assists. He played 43 out of 45 minutes, and he exited for 2 minutes with an injured ankle.
Yeah.
The 2 minutes he didn't play.
Wow. Yeah, and
he was just 19 assists and 2 turnovers.
You could see him playing hurt.
Limping around, I didn't think he's going to.
You could
away, didn't it?
And you got to wonder how that's feeling today. He's 5'8", 160 pounds.
What do you guys think about the play? The incredible assist. Was it Trickeroony? Did he actually? When he was looking at the coach, and then he threw the pass.
Oh yeah, I saw that the other night. Dunk. Yeah, that was a Thursday night game.
That was,
was that K-State?
That was K-State.
Yeah, he was looking at the coach, and all of a sudden he just goes. But now
it's like he was telling the coach he didn't want to run what the coach was calling,
and he just
Or were they in cahoots? Divert the attention of the Michigan State defense. Bang. Kind of like
people were calling in yesterday to Dan Patrick all day. Said, how long are they going to allow carrying in college basketball? Because he's the number one culprit, they say, for carrying the basketball. And they say he was even doing it on that play.
Yeah, well, that's
down
just
there and talk to the coach.
Yeah.
But
it's got to be really blatant now for him to call a carry.
Get it ready. We're going to timeout. Jason says the Florida Atlantic coach has made more bonuses during this tournament run than his yearly salary. He got $500,000 for salary, $750,000 so far for those bonuses. Back in a moment.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Beauchamps, I have a toothache. Where should I go?
Well, Tim, I'd go to John Cloninger Dentistry in Lincolnton. He takes care of all my dental needs. Cleanings and deep cleanings, crowns, bridges, fillings, dentures. He can even help you with your sleep apnea.
And guess what, Bo? He has a partner, Dr. Aaron Hevner.
That's right, Tim. Stop in at Dr. John Cloninger's Dentistry today to let Dr. Irvin Hevner and John brighten your smile.
John Cloninger Dentistry, 904 Doncha Drive, Lincolnton. Hours Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Or call 704-735-0765.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Hey, it's Lanny Ford, and I want to invite you to join me, Captain Ron, and Calvin Hastings as we broadcast live on WLON this Saturday, March 25th, during the grand opening of Bean Brothers Hardware and Supply in Lincolnton. Find out how you could win a 48-inch Tiger Cat Skag mower with a 26-horsepower Yamaha engine valued at $12,000. We'll be there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with free Dairy Queen hot dogs, Subway sandwiches, chips, and drinks. Take 5% off Skag mowers financed that day. Take up to 10% off the cash price. Plus, save $685 on the new Husqvarna Z454 Husqvarna mower and get a free trimmer and a free blower. Buy 3 Husqvarna commercial chainsaws and get 15% off each one. See the huge newly expanded mulch yard, the new greenhouse, and reps will be on hand to help you. Plus, register to win some great door prizes this Saturday, March 25th from 10 to 2. Bean Brothers Hardware and Supply, 969 Reefsville Road in Lincoln. Like them on Facebook, too. See you Saturday.
Lake Electric Company was founded in 1984. They are licensed in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia. Safety and quality is first in everything they do. For all your electrical needs, serving Lincoln County, Catawba County, Burke County, Mecklenburg County, and all the surrounding counties. When it has to be done right, call Lake Electric. Let them take care of your family. Lake Electric Company, 4362 Providence Mill Road, Maiden. Call 704-483-4000. Online at lakeelectric.com.
Stop by Lowe's Home Improvement in Lincolnton for their great deals with the current spring refresh. Looking for appliances with savings up to $1,000 on selected new refrigerators, savings up to $200 on select ranges, and up to $340 on select washer-dryer pairs. Also up to 50% off select bathroom fixtures. And don't forget the outside essentials, like ladders, to make the outside cleanup easier. Shop Lowe's in Lincolnton for the things you want to buy today.
What a night of jazz we've got lined up for you this Sunday night right here on the Jazz Track. This is Mike. Hope you'll join me. Great jazz from Scott Whitfield's Jazz Orchestra, Marlena Shaw, Ray Brown, Stanley Turnerton, George Benson, Cheryl Benteen, Maceo Parker, the Blazing Redheads, and many more. All right here Sunday night, 8 to 11. The best in jazz is WLON. Get you on the Jazz Track.
Welcome back, Sports Talk. Here in the third quarter already. Running late this morning, 9:21. Got about 38 minutes left to be with you this morning. I'm going to look here real quick and see what we've got. Make sure I'm on the right day. Yes, Friday, March 24th, high school baseball from yesterday. Mike, did your Ironman play last night, or
yes,
do you know?
They defeated Thomas Jefferson at home in 5 innings.
Okay.
I think it was 11-0, 12-0, something.
Having a really good early season so far. Are the
Yeah, I think they're like
Cherryville Ironman
8-2 now, maybe 9-2.
Yeah, and the losses were too. Do you remember who their losses were
They
too?
lost a 1-run game to North Gaston.
Yeah, who's very good. They're having a good year too.
And I get
2-1 to Kings Mountain.
2-1 to Kings Mountain.
1-run games.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Kings Mountain, here's you another one of those scores from last
which
night.
I couldn't believe. I saw that score and I couldn't.
Why
believe
couldn't
it.
you believe it?
Well, Kings Mountain was on the losing end, weren't they?
Kings Mountain 24, Hunter Huss nothing.
Oh, Kings Mountain 24. Okay,
yeah,
that's good.
Because the reason I said
I
why
can't
wouldn't you
believe
believe it, because Crest just beat them last week,
Yeah.
32-3.
Yeah, Hunter Huss.
So,
yeah, okay.
Yeah, this one, Kings Mountain 24, Huss nothing. I feel for Huss. I
do.
really do.
I do too.
Here's another one. Murphy 21, Cherokee 2. Last night. We've seen more of these this year, to me, anyway, than I've ever seen, these lopsided scores. Mount Pleasant 19, Albemarle nothing. You know, Jordan Matthews 21, Graham 1, 16-0 in a private game here. 16-2, East Carteret over Southside. 24-11. Can you imagine umpiring, or even on our side broadcasting, a game that has 35 runs? And that's tough. Hendersonville 7, Polk County 6. That's more like a high school game I want to see. Alexander Central 5, Watauga nothing last night. Catholic over Rockery River 15-0. Bandy shuts out West Caldwell 10-0. West Charlotte nothing with them in Hopewell. Southern Guilford, they have a logo that looks just like Southern Cal, except it's a G instead of a C. I like that. When I first glanced, I thought Southern Cal is now playing in the North Carolina High School Athletics Association. Jason, they might win something. Just picking, Jason. Let's see. No, not necessarily. I'm not sure they would win. You have to go through those schools like Chambers and those 4A schools that are very tough. Here's another one. South Davidson 20, Lexington 1. A couple 11-0 shutouts here, including Thomasville over North Rowan 11-0.
Did you give Mount Pleasant 19, Albemarle 1?
I think I did, but I don't know.
Jordan Matthews
You did,
21,
if I did.
Graham 1.
Yeah. What are you doing, Mike? Scrolling way down to get ahead of me?
I was just looking for outrageous margins.
The scoreboard's full of them, isn't it? South Caldwell 13, Freedom 3. Butler over East Meck 4-3. Here's a big win last night in our area. North Lincoln beat St. Stephen's last night 5-3. St. Stephen's was, I think those two teams were tied for second in the conference, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe along with East Lincoln. I can't remember if East Lincoln's lost 1 or 2. Hickory's beating everybody, in case you're wondering who's on top. As far as I know, Hickory's still undefeated as a baseball team. And we talked about Coach Kraft getting his 500th win a little over a week ago. High Brighton over Ashe County 12-6. Irwin over AC Reynolds 6-3. North Stokes 2, Star Mountain nothing. We do still have pitchers in high school baseball. Crest 10, Ashbrook 2. Richmond County 19, Hoke County nothing. Another high scoring lopsided game there. Bunker Hill over Newton Conover 8-7. Surrey Central over Wilkes Central 3-1. West Lincoln beats East Burke last night 8-2. I'll give John Markley a lot of credit here. They got off to a rough start, but they seem to have righted the ship. I think they've won about 4 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. So
ever since that close loss to Maiden, they've been racking up some wins.
I don't think they've lost since that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact. North Gaston 11, Forest View 2 last night. North Surrey falls to East Surrey 11-9. Shelby over East Gaston 6-1. That's East Gaston's first loss. I thought they'd been doing pretty well.
Like 9-0, but I don't know who all they really played.
Mike has already mentioned Cherryville 13, Thomas Jefferson 1. South Columbus 25. Is that the high number of the night? Have I had one higher than that? 25-1 over
There
West.
was a 32
Blake.
nothing.
Oh yeah, yep. Was that last night too?
Yep.
Wow. 32-0. Maiden over Lincoln last night, 8-0. And that one, Maiden. I think Maiden and maybe East Burke and Bandy's might be your teams sitting up at the top of the conference. Maiden may be by themselves right now, in first place. RS Central over Brevard 9-2.
Stewart. West Lincoln beat East Burke. Didn't you say West Lincoln beat East Burke?
Yes.
I think that's their second loss. I think so. Maiden probably is in first.
I think it was. Didn't I say East Burke? You got me confused. Yeah,
Yeah,
West
you-
beat East Burke
you
8-2.
said East Burke, yeah.
They sure did.
So I beat Maiden East Burke.
South Point beat Kramers 9-7. Also on Friday night, West Iredale over Statesville 17-2. Poor Statesville.
Poor
They're struggling.
Statesville.
They're struggling a lot like Hunter Hussey is right now, giving up the big numbers. Let's see, getting near the bottom here finally. Another 15-0 here, but it's Chatham Charter over River Mill. Lincoln Charter, Bradford Prep, no score from last night. So that about does it on the.
Get Burns over Bessemer 20-2.
I missed that one. 20-2. Yeah, Bessemer's had their struggles.
They have this year.
for sure.
What did
this year?
East Rutherford and Chase do? I saw Chase.
Chase beat them 7-4.
Did they? Yeah,
So
East
number
Rutherford
5
beat
team.
RS Central twice a week ago, but Chase won this week over.
Twice.
Did they beat them both
They beat 'em
times? I knew they beat them Tuesday.
You said they won last night.
7-4 is what it says
So
here.
Chase has swept East Rutherford. Wow, that the only thing that's going to even all that out is if RS Central sweeps Chase, and their 2-game set when they play each other. Those schools, those conferences, some of them elect to play the same team twice in a week, so you know you can't face the same pitcher
That's
twice.
right.
Kind of like that. It's like a baseball series. You know you're not going to face the same pitcher twice. I got a call from Denny Hoover. Talking a little bit last night. Lost to his father-in-law last night, Jim Lewis. You got my score there, Brad. East Carolina. And,
George Mason. 11-3, East Carolina.
East Carolina a winner last night, 11-3. Lane Hoover did something last night. Two things that will affect him. One will affect him big time. He lost his grandpa last night, Jim Lewis, which is Julia's dad, Denny's father-in-law. But an hour later, after learning he had died, he had his first ever home run on campus at ECU.
All right.
How about that?
Yeah, I got a video here on Twitter.
How about that? So that's some secret power there that he got from somewhere. So I talked to Denny this morning a little bit. So I know what he's going through. I'll just say that. I know what he's going through right now. And it's definitely not easy, and I know it's not easy on Julia. So wishing them the best and thinking about them and praying for them to get through this tough time. All right, guys. Any major news out of the NFL this week that we need to? I can't think of anything. Here's the major news that I saw this week, and you guys tell me what you think. They ranked the teams in the NFL by what they had done in free agency. Who do you think was number one in doing the best moves in free agency so far in NFL? And if it hadn't been done yet, it's probably not going to happen. There are going to be very few signings from this point on, right? Unless you get bargain basement deals. But who do you think? Who do you think? Just throw one out there at me that you think might have been considered number one. I don't know how much you've kept up with it. There were a few big signings early. Some big names floated around there and wound up on some, made some of the better teams better and things like that. But this one, I guess you could say it kind of, it would catch you by surprise. Does that help?
I'm going to throw this out there. I don't know, but I'm going to say the Panthers.
The Panthers were ranked number one.
Because they've signed a lot. And I
They
don't know
have.
what that means.
They have, yeah. I think that had a lot to do with it, more than anything. The Jets were mentioned, I think, a little bit on there, but the but the Panthers, I don't know if they've ever been graded an A+ at anything. But they did. They got an A+. Now this is from, everybody ranks things different, but this one is from the NFL, NFL News, the NFL itself, like NFL.com. That's the one here that ranks them number 1. Well, let me take that back. No, I'm still right. They did get an A+. It looks like they got a B+ for trading that number 1 for the number 1 pick. But guess who got a higher grade on that? The Bears. They got an A+ because of getting DJ Moore, a first rounder, number 9 overall, a second rounder, number 61 overall. That's just this year.
Yeah, this year.
And then they get a first rounder and a second rounder the 2 following years. So, the Panthers could see things to do later on, though, that, if you got a good general manager, he'll get you through that because he'll trade somebody to get a pick or 2 back. And you could also always go the Belichick route, too, and do your best drafting after the first 2 rounds.
Sure.
So I'll put it this way: not near as much pressure on you to get it right in those final rounds. With all the talking heads and all that kind of stuff, is there anybody? Are you guys convinced the way the Panthers are going with that first pick, or is it just a wait and see? And how far are we from the draft now? About 5 weeks.
5 weeks.
Like 6 last.
Is it early May?
5, yeah.
I think we have to wait and see.
If I had to bet money, it's going to be on Stroud.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
But listening to a pro football expert yesterday, I can't even remember who it was that Dan Patrick had on. He says that the size of, help me with the guy, the Bama?
Bryce
Young. The size is starting to be less of an issue with GMs and scouts.
Yeah.
Because
of the success of.
Well, what they look for is not so much the injury. They look for, is he looking for passing lanes because he can't see over the top? Does he do this and that because he can't see over the top? And they're not seeing that in films. That he never tries to do something so he can see. He just always is able to see downfield where he's throwing it. I don't know which one will be the best quarterback. All I know is there's a very good chance one of them will be a bust.
Yep.
I mean, that's just the way it is. Right. The facts.
If you go on what they did last, what Stroud did against that vaunted Georgia defense.
Well, if you go on what Jamarcus Russell did his final college game, where would you have him right now? And where is he right now?
That's true.
And I'm not just picking on Jamarcus Russell because there's 100 of those guys out there. It's the hardest position to fill in sports.
There will be 4 quarterbacks taken in the first round. There's Levis and Richardson going to be thrown in there too.
Yeah, I think so.
In the first round?
In the first round.
Yeah. Could be in the top 10.
Yeah.
Okay, if that's top 4, who's number 5? Who's the
I'm not sure.
I don't know. The lineman from Georgia.
No, he means the number 5 quarterback.
Number 5 quarterback.
Yeah, who would you say is the number 5? Yeah, those 4 quarterbacks aren't going to be the first 4 players taken. I can promise you that. That would be.
I bet they would be in the top 10.
You think all 4 will be in the top 10?
I do.
I might take that bet, Mike Powell. Well, you might be buying my breakfast for long. I might be buying yours. But,
I'm saying 3.
You think 3 will be in the top 10?
First link I clicked on has Hendon Hooker as the 5th ranked quarterback.
Yeah.
Second round for him. Third.
There's a lot of people like him.
Yep. Has the injury, coming off the injury. But
yeah. We thought might have us a North Carolina born or a guy that played his college football or his high school football in North Carolina win a Heisman, but it didn't work out there down the stretch for him. But
this site has Bryce Young graded the highest. Young, Stroud, Levis, and Richardson are the top 4 in that order. But I still think I think the Panthers are going Stroud He just seems like a safer pick to me with his size and accuracy. I think both of them are mentally strong.
Why does Young get the nod a little bit over Stroud since he's not as big? I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to test you guys real quick. How many quarterbacks last year went in the top 10? Mike says that those 3 are going. Lenny says 3 in the top 10. Mike says 4 in the top 10. How many quarterbacks went in the top 10 in last year's draft?
1. Yeah, Pittsburgh. I know he went in the first round.
Yeah, Pickett.
Yeah,
Yep.
he did.
He was the only one. Yeah.
Did another guy drop to the second round and won at Liberty? Or was he a first rounder? He dropped some. I can't remember.
Yeah. What, did Pickett even go in the top 10?
I don't think he did he? Who took him?
Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh. I don't think he did. He was the first one.
Well, you could also say that was not a great.
Guys, I do not see a quarterback in the first 32 picks.
Huh.
Last year?
I think I'm looking at the wrong year.
I guess it was a weak quarterback class.
It was. It really was.
And Sam Howell went in.
Was Trayvon Walker the first pick
round?
last year? Was that just last year? Or have I got the wrong year pulled up here? It's got Trayvon Walker.
That was last year.
Was it? Okay.
I think so.
The big lineman out of Georgia. And then Aiden Hutchinson went and played for his hometown Lions.
Right.
Okay. The third pick was Stingley at LSU. Went to the Texans. Ahmad Gardner. That's Sauce, right?
Yep.
The cornerback went to the Jets. Thibodeau, the Oregon defensive player, went to the Giants. And then you have OT, wide receiver, OT, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. And this is why these two positions are the highest paid in the league now. Your wide receivers and your offensive linemen. Defensive tackle Jordan Davis, safety, a guard, a wide receiver, another guard, a tackle, wide receiver, quarter. Whoa, there it is. He's in the first. I overlooked
20.
him. I overlooked him. Number 20. Number 20 was your only. And it seems to be a good pick right now because he was their starter after so many games. It's just I just can't imagine that 4 quarterbacks would go.
Yeah, that may be a.
You're right, though. Last year's class was not the greatest,
No,
and this one
is
seems to be
class.
a good class. So.
Well, it looks like the second quarterback taken was in the 3rd round. Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati went to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they've got a guy to compete with him now, the guy from Washington.
The Heineke.
That was Tyler Heineken.
74th pick.
So it had that big of a gap from 20 to 74 in between quarterbacks.
When will Caleb Williams and Drew May be eligible for the draft?
Drake May.
After this year, right?
Yeah, next year.
Yeah, after next
To me, they're
they'll be high
elite.
picks.
They're
They could
elite.
be a 1 and 2
they're elite.
type year.
All right. You know how you grade drafts? We talk about this, and we'll do this more later on. But you grade drafts by see what they're doing 3 years in.
Right.
Number 1 pick in 20 was Joe Burrow. Number 1 pick overall.
Pretty good.
I think that's been a pretty good one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Washington took Ohio State's Chase Young.
He's
when healthy, it's
he's
an
a
A.
really good player. He needs to be on the field more.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is
That's
the best ability is what?
Availability. Yeah.
Detroit took Jeff Okuda, Ohio State. You could say the same about him. Got to be on the field. I'm just going to go through a few of these here. Giants took Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle out of Georgia. Tua went to Miami. I think that's working out okay, really. I know he has a lot of injuries, but he's a pretty good quarterback when he's standing upright. Number 6, the Chargers took Herbert. I know that was a good pick. The Panthers took Derek Brown, 7th, out of Auburn, Arizona. Took Isaiah Simmons, linebacker out of Clemson. Jacksonville took C.J. Henderson, a cornerback from Florida. And round out the top 10, Cleveland took offensive tackle Jedrick Wills out of Alabama. So nothing there really thrown to the curb yet, right?
No.
So,
it's hard to.
I think it's been
hard to say on some of those, especially the linemen. We don't, I don't really know how good Andrew Thomas is with the Giants. Is he their best offensive lineman?
Here's
right
the
now?
whole deal. Here's what I think about that. He's in his third year. If he starts, then the pick was good.
Yep.
If he's a starter, the pick was good.
I know one that wasn't good. Number 12, the Raiders took Henry Ruggs. That has not worked out.
That has not worked out because of off the field.
You just Rodney will be in the parking lot in 5.
Could have had Justin Jefferson or C.D. Lamb.
Ooh, both of them.
Boy, Jefferson is really
He went 22nd.
That's the Randy Moss pick there. The one everybody looked at.
Right before him, the Eagles took Jalen Rigger out of TCU.
Yeah.
Just think if the Eagles had Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. Did they put all that success just on Burrow and not think the receivers? Because he's not the only receiver in that. Chase, what's his name? The Bengals receiver, Jamar Chase.
Yeah, he was the year before.
Yeah, but come out of that same thing. I mean, he was, national championship team. LSU can put 2 things in the NFL you can count on: wide receivers and defensive backs.
Yep.
They don't ever have a problem producing those kind. We got to take our final time out. We're going to come back and talk our final few minutes about the Final Four. See you in a moment.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Beauchamps, I have a toothache. Where should I go?
Well, Tim, I'd go to John Cloninger Dentistry in Lincoln. He takes care of all my dental needs. Cleanings and deep cleanings, crowns, bridges, fillings, dentures. He could even help you with your sleep apnea.
And guess what, Bo? He has a partner, Dr. Aaron Hevner.
That's right, Tim. Stop in at Dr. John Cloninger's Dentistry today. Let Dr. Irvin Hevner and John brighten your smile.
John Cloninger Dentistry, 904 Doncha Drive, Lincoln. Hours Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Or call 704-735-0765.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Hey, it's Lanny Ford, and I want to invite you to join me, Captain Ron, and Calvin Hastings as we broadcast live on WLON this Saturday, March 25th, during the grand opening of Bean Brothers Hardware and Supply in Lincoln. Find out how you could win a 48-inch Tiger Cat Skag mower with a 26-horsepower Yamaha engine valued at $12,000. We'll be there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with free Dairy Queen hot dogs, Subway sandwiches, chips, and drinks. Take 5% off Skag mowers financed that day. Take up to 10% off the cash price. Plus, save $685 on the new Husqvarna Z454 Husqvarna mower and get a free trimmer and a free blower. Buy 3 Husqvarna commercial chainsaws and get 15% off each one. See the huge newly expanded mulch yard, the new greenhouse, and reps will be on hand to help you. Plus, register to win some great door prizes this Saturday, March 25th from 10 to 2. Bean Brothers Hardware and Supply, 969 Reefsville Road in Lincoln. Like them on Facebook, too. See you Saturday.
Lake Electric Company was founded in 1984. They are licensed in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia. Safety and quality is first in everything they do. For all your electrical needs, serving Lincoln County, Catawba County, Burke County, Mecklenburg County, and all the surrounding counties. When it has to be done right, call Lake Electric. Let them take care of your family. Lake Electric Company, 4362 Providence Mill Road, Maiden. Call 704-483-4000. Online at lakeelectric.com.
Stop by Lowe's Home Improvement in Lincolnton for their great deals with the current spring refresh. Looking for appliances with savings up to $1,000 on selected new refrigerators, savings up to $200 on select ranges, and up to $340 on select washer-dryer pairs. Also up to 50% off select bathroom fixtures. And don't forget the outside essentials, like ladders, to make the outside cleanup easier. Shop Lowe's in Lincolnton for the things you want to buy today.
What a night of jazz we've got lined up for you this Sunday night right here on the Jazz Track. This is Mike. Hope you'll join me. Great jazz from Scott Whitfield's Jazz Orchestra, Marlena Shaw, Ray Brown, Stanley Turton, George Benson, Cheryl Benteen, Maceo Parker, the Blazing Redheads, and many more. All right here Sunday night, 8 to 11. The best in jazz is WLON. Get you on the Jazz Track.
Got your pen and paper ready, Brett? Welcome back to Sports Talk. You got something right on what with?
I'll put it in my phone.
Okay, we're gonna.
That way I can change it later.
I'll try and remember yours. Nobody else's.
It's on. These videos are.
That's right.
Archived.
They're there for a while, aren't they? Florida Atlantic, Kansas State tonight at 6. Tonight at 8:49. These times never happen. These should, because they're on opposite courts, so maybe they will. UConn and Gonzaga tonight at 8:49. Both those games on TBS. Are you okay with that? TBS getting the
doesn't matter to me.
It's all the same, isn't it?
Yeah,
it all looks exactly the same. So no problem at all. Plus, we get to hear Charles Barkley occasionally when it includes TBS.
That's what I love.
Yeah,
this time of
I
year.
do too.
Barkley Unfiltered.
Then tomorrow, the game's a little earlier during the day. You know, last Sunday night, you had games till about midnight.
Oh, yeah.
It's been that way the last couple of years. But rough on an old man's got
probably wrap up by 7 or 8 tomorrow, right?
It will round up around 8, I'd say. Your first game is at 2:20, Creighton, San Diego State on Sunday, then Miami and Texas. And to me, that is the marquee game.
Me too.
They didn't do this on purpose. They couldn't have. But that is the marquee game. They couldn't have changed it to be the last game of the four.
That one side of the bracket's got the bigger names.
Yeah.
UConn and Gonzaga.
Yep.
Which is tonight's late game. And then Miami and Texas.
Yeah. Well, my biggest question is
San Diego State and Creighton's probably going to have the smallest.
Yeah.
It's funny, but are you guys
viewership.
okay with the game times? Would you rather see these Saturday games start at 6, or would you rather – because the Final Four is going to be exactly the same here, most likely.
Yeah,
6,
6
9, and
8:45.
So would you rather it be this way, or would you rather see 2 and 5 o'clock?
No, I like it at night. I wish tomorrow's were at night.
Yeah, I do too. I like it at night.
Yep.
I like the tournament at night.
It really doesn't matter to me. I'm going to watch it.
I wish the
if I can.
5:05 tomorrow was
But I
the
like
early
starting,
game.
Like last night, I thought last night was good. The last 2 nights, they started at 6:30.
6:30. They have moved it up a half hour.
Yeah.
7,
Yeah.
10, and
And that helps us East Coast people, because at least that second game, you hope to get started by 9.
Yeah.
9 or 9:30. So it's not quite as bad. But yeah, I told you guys, Lenny's not the only one asked me. Several people asked me about watching that Gonzaga and UCLA game and how good it was, and I said I was asleep before they ever tipped it off.
Well, for me, it's easier at night to watch them.
a man with 2 children.
More stuff going on during the day.
2 young children.
Guys, let's see if you agree with this. ESPN has reseeded the Elite Eight. Myron Metcalf, he's got UConn number 1, Texas 2, Gonzaga 3, San Diego State 4, Miami 5, Creighton 6, Kansas State 7th, and Florida Atlantic 8th.
I do not see Kansas State as a 7 out of
I
that
don't
8.
either. That's too low.
And I really think Gonzaga is not the 3 either. I think
I'm going to put Miami up at the 3.
I like who was 2?
Texas.
Texas. I like.
They said UConn and then Texas. And
UConn, based on what they've done, has got
go
to
through
be
them again. UConn's the 1.
Texas,
which is hard to argue. UConn's killed everybody.
Yeah, I can't argue UConn and Texas being 1 and 2.
Right.
Gonzaga 3.
Yeah.
Aztecs 4. Miami 5.
I think I'd put Miami over San Diego State right now.
I would.
I would put San Diego State ahead of Gonzaga.
I might even put Miami above Gonzaga.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, I would lower Gonzaga to
5.
in mine to 6 to 5th. So far, who's the last 3?
They got Creighton 6th.
Yeah, they are
Kansas
better.
State 7th, and Florida Atlantic 8th.
Okay, I would go UConn. This is me, just me. UConn. On mine would be the number 1.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
I'm not going to argue Texas. I think they've destroyed a pretty good road. Then I'm going Miami. UConn, Texas, Miami. After that, I will go. One of them I can't even tell who I wrote down here. Oh, Creighton. My next one's going to be San Diego State 4th. I think they are one of.
That's what ESPN has.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
I like the size, physical ability, and just the way they're playing right now.
Yeah.
As much as anything. Then I'll go K-State. Then I'll go Gonzaga. That leaves me Florida Atlantic, and Florida Atlantic might surprise us all.
They could.
I mean, there's nothing they're doing. I go Creighton and then Florida Atlantic.
They've won 25 in a row. I can't remember the last time they lost.
Yep.
They play San Diego State. Is that who they play?
Yep.
Florida who? Florida Atlantic?
Yeah.
They play Kansas State.
Kansas.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, Kansas.
Yeah. There's not a game on here. Really? I mean, is there a game on here you'd be surprised if either team wins?
No.
There's not.
Not at all.
There's not. And that, I don't think we have that a lot. It seems like every year because we have always had number 1 seeds, get this far.
Mm-hmm.
We expect that number 1 to be, they don't always win, but you expect them to win by double digits usually at this point.
Indeed.
And they don't.
Yeah, like had Alabama beaten San Diego State, I would say Alabama would be a pretty big favorite over Creighton. But San Diego State and Creighton seems like a toss-up. Kansas State and Florida Atlantic kind of feels like a toss-up.
What did you tell me?
I love watching Kansas State play,
I
don't.
I do too.
They're a 1.5 point favorite right now.
Which one did you tell me had the biggest spread?
Texas 4.5 over Miami.
I don't get that. To me, Miami is definitely a top 4 to me.
Yeah, but 4.5 isn't. That's not a lot of points.
It's not.
Mm-hmm.
And UConn only 2.5 over Gonzaga.
I'll go first. Brett's going to type them in right here on his phone because we're running out of time here.
What are we going? What are we doing?
We're going me, Lenny, you, Brett, picking the 4 winners. And you can also mention who you think will. Well, that's it. We'll meet again before they play again. That'll be perfect because we'll be here next Saturday before they play their next games. So I'm going to go with K-State to beat Florida Atlantic in the first matchup of the 4. I'm going to go with UConn to win over the Zags. Come on, computer. On Sunday, I'm going to go with San Diego State to beat Creighton. Much as I like Creighton, I'm just not sure they can handle that. They're going to have big guys to match Creighton's big guy. They're going, he's not going to dominate them like he's done some of these other teams. I don't think.
Yeah, not like he dominated Princeton.
Yeah, and I will take. Wow, that last one, man. They saved it, didn't they? I tell you what. I'm going Miami. I'm going Miami over Texas in that one. Lenny's turn.
You said Florida Atlantic play. I'm taking Kansas State.
Okay.
I'm taking, and then next is Connecticut and Gonzaga. I'm going to take Connecticut.
He takes K-State and Connecticut to win on Saturday.
And then Sunday, who's the first game? Creighton.
Creighton and San Diego State.
I'm going to go the other way. Although they're so physical, I'm going to go with Creighton.
Creighton to win.
And I'm picking Miami, too.
Miami to beat Texas. Mike Powell.
Ooh, I'm just going here what I'm looking at on ESPN.
Oh, you're going by the spreads, are you? Way to go out on a limb.
UConn Gonzaga. No, the spreads aren't shown here. I just love Drew Timme. I'd love to see him get back to the Final Four. It's against my better judgment. I'm going Gonzaga, picking with my heart.
Like I said, I won't be surprised if any of the four win. It's that close.
Texas, Miami. Miami's playing great, but Texas is really seem to be playing well for this interim coach, Rodney Terry. I'm going to go Texas.
Texas for Mike Powell.
I'm going to go San Diego State after what they did against Alabama to beat Creighton. And what else we got? Kansas State versus Florida Atlantic. Kansas State. They're on a roll.
They're all on a roll. They wouldn't be here.
Yeah, that's true. But that guard that they have, Marquise Noel, is just a wizard.
I love watching him. Yep. His coach just hugged him the other night and said, "This guy right here makes every shot."
So there's a bun.
Well, I'm also going K-State, so it's a sweep.
That's a sweep. How about that? We're all impressed with what K-State's done. So K-State goes down this afternoon. Be ready for that.
Yeah, of course.
With us all going one way, they cannot win that game.
And I'm going to join Mike and take Gonzaga over UConn.
All right, 2-2 there.
I'm going to join Lenny and take Creighton over San Diego State, and then I'm sticking with the team I picked to win it all in Texas to beat Miami.
So how many were 2-2?
3 of them are 2-2.
Wow!
And then K-State is a sweep.
How about that? That's
so
amazing.
Put your money on Florida Atlantic.
Put your money on Florida A&M, and everything else is a toss-up. I would probably go against the ones that I decided to go with. There's not a team. Another thing too. Sometimes there's a team you just want to see lose. I don't have one. Have one. Do you guys have one?
No, the team I wanted to see lose was Alabama, and they lost.
Right.
So I'm happy with anybody to win.
Me too.
Yep.
Now, out of the 8 left, I would like to see Gonzaga win it.
I do too.
Mark Few's a great coach, and he's been close.
They're kind of flying under the radar this year.
Yeah.
But I don't think this Gonzaga team is as good as some of their
No, but the field isn't as good.
Field isn't as
the
good.
one year they lost to Carolina in the championship, Carolina had a really good team.
Yeah, that's right.
There's nobody that talented left in it this year.
Yeah.
Now, UConn looks like they're playing the best, so Gonzaga might have the toughest matchup this weekend.
You wished you could reseed them.
There's no Baylor. What you're saying is there's no Baylor
You know
in
what,
this tournament.
guys? Of the 4, I'll just try. Of the 8, I'm just trying to think. Creighton, and you guys, Creighton and Florida Atlantic. Where I'm going with this? Creighton and Florida Atlantic are the only 2 names of the 8 that I would be surprised if they were your national champs in 9 days.
Yeah, me too.
That's the only 2.
Yep.
Right.
The other 4 would not surprise me if they won it.
I agree.
Thank you for tuning in to Sports Talk this morning. We appreciate Lenny being here again. For Mike, Brett, I'm David. See you next week.